Now with the distaff dressed, we're ready to start spinning. But I've learned that when you're working with a double flyer wheel, in which each hand is spinning a thread, you have twice as much to go wrong, twice as many problems. So when learning the wheel, I find it best to break it down into its component parts. And the first thing to learn is the pedaling. Now I know that seems strange because those of you who are experienced spinners have been pedaling for years and years and years, and it's just second nature. But when you go to a new wheel, especially a new traditional wheel, the diameter of the wheel was never standardized. And what that means is that as the wheel is either larger or smaller than the wheel you normally spin on, the stroke of the pedal, the distance it goes up and down as the wheel turns around, is going to be different. And what you'll find is that your foot has a hard time adjusting to the new stroke of the pedal. When the pedal is going up, your foot wants to go down. When the pedal is going down, your foot wants to come up with it. So it seems like you've suddenly forgotten how to spin, whereas the only issue is actually the stroke of the pedal. So you need to just concentrate on that, rehearse it for maybe several days, maybe half an hour a day, until it becomes second nature. So we're going to try that right now. We're going to go up and down. We go up and down on the pedal. Now at this point, it's also a good chance to start getting the tension on the wheel. As I said earlier, I like to have just enough tension to pull on the thread without drawing on so fast that I lose the threads and they're pulled and wrapped around the bobbins. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start adjusting the tension of the thread. That happens with these individual knobs here. Each one is a wooden screw. And as I turn it, it will either move the flyer up or down, increasing or decreasing the tension. We're going to add a little bit to it. Now, as you rehearse this and practice the treadling, you want to become second nature, which means you want to be able to do other things besides concentrate on the pedaling. The pedaling has to actually recede into the background because you will have enough to do just keeping your hands concentrated on the spinning. So as I'm able to talk to you now and pedal at the same time, you will know when you're ready to advance to the next stage, when you're able to actually do things with your hands. You can clap, you can move them around, you can wave them, but when you can actually do different things with your hands while the pedaling is going regularly, then you know you're ready to start learning how to spin with the double flyer. Now, because you have two flyers going at once, it's different than with the single flyer wheel. With the single flyer wheel, one hand actually pulls down and separates the fibers, while the other hand guides the fibers into the orifice of the flyer. With the double flyer wheel, one hand has to do both things. So you have 5 fingers, and this is how we're going to use them. The thumb and the forefinger are going to be used to twist and guide the thread into the orifice. That leaves the middle finger, the ring finger, and the pinky to actually pull down, draw down the fibers and separate them, and basically lead them into your thumb and forefinger. So once again, the thumb and forefinger guide the thread, maybe help twist it into the orifice, while the middle finger, the ring finger, and the pinky draw down the fibers, pull them, and separate them. So let's see how that works. We'll start with my left hand first. I'm going to pull out enough thread. First of all, I'm going to put it through the hollow tube, what I call the orifice. The hollow tube at the end of the middle shaft. I pull out enough so that it is adjacent to, right by the flax fibers. And I pull down some of the fibers and twist them onto the thread. Now at this point, we're going to start the wheel up and we're going to see how the single hand, the left hand, works with its own flyer. And we're not sure how we'll check the tension as we're doing this. So the thumb and forefingers are twisting the thread and sort of guiding it into the orifice. You can see how the last three fingers, the middle finger, the ring finger, and the pinky, are pulling down the fibers and separating them so they can be twisted into thread. Now once you have that down with one hand, in this case the left hand, we're going to stop that. We're going to put that hand away, and then we're going to go to the right hand flyer and basically teach this hand how to do those same steps. And you want to find the end of the thread, put it on the hooks. I find it helps to double back the thread so I can actually stick it through that the hollow tube at the end of the metal shaft. It comes out the orifice. I like to pull out enough thread so it's right adjacent to the fibers. I pull down enough flax fiber so I can actually start the thread. Give myself a head start here. And then we'll start at the wheel. And we'll see how this goes. Again, the thumb and forefinger are helping to twist the thread while the middle finger, the ring finger, and the pinky are pulling down the fibers and separating them. At this point, we have learned how to do the treadle. We've taught each hand its respective task. We can do it individually. Now let's do it simultaneously. This is where the double flyer wheel takes off and leaves the competition behind. Let's see how we do. I'm going to pull down some of that fiber, wrap it around. Now, I'm going to reach over, I'm going to start the wheel, and we're going to see what happens. You can see you're trying to work on pulling down the fiber so you don't get too many at once. This is why adequate or appropriate dressing of the distaff is critical. Now I lost the thread on my right hand. It ran out, so I'm going to have to stop, pull it over the hooks, put it back through the orifice, bring it up to the flax fiber, wrap some fibers around it, grab hold of the other thread, 2 threads in one hand to start, get the wheel going, let's see what happens. Take her away. Let's try this one. There we go. So from the Hermitage, at the double flyer wheel, it's Johannes Zinzendorf. This is with Christian Zinzendorf. The two of us have brought you 30,000 years of spinning history. We hope you've enjoyed it. Try out these different tools, these different wheels, the spindles, and see what you can do with it. I think you'll really enjoy it. Take care now. Goodbye.